All right. So I'm going to continue this theme of how to if a test if a symmetric matrix is positive definite or not. In the last lecture, I gave you one important criteria that a matrix n cross n matrix A n cross n matrix A real. I am restricting my discussion to real is symmetric positive definite if and only if all its eigenvalues are strictly greater than 0. So on those very lines of arguments, you could say that it is positive semi-definite if all the eigenvalues are greater than or equal to 0. Is it not? I mean, the proof follows. So if A is SPD, then it will also be invertible. Very simple, right? I showed to you that you can decompose a symmetric matrix by its decomposition as follows, where V is the orthogonal matrix of eigenvectors and this is the diagonal matrix of eigenvalues. So if all lambda i's are greater than 0, then I can write this inverse as 1 minus sigma 1, 1 minus sigma 2 to 1 minus sigma n. So therefore, very easy to check that inverse of A, if A is SPD, is given by this, because as we discussed in the last class, orthogonal matrices, their inverse is just the transpose of it. And now this matrix, diagonal matrix, is invertible because all the diagonals are non-zero, in fact greater than 0. So therefore, SPD matrix is always invertible. However, please understand that all invertible matrices need not be SPD. For example, if I take a matrix as 1 and minus 2, clearly this is not a symmetric positive definite matrix, because if I take E2 as 0, 1 and look at E2 A transpose E2, then this is minus 2, which is less than 0. And it is not negative definite also, because E1 transpose A1 is 1, which is greater than 0. So therefore this matrix is in fact an indefinite matrix and it is invertible. What is its inverse? Its inverse is 1, 1 and minus 1 by 2. So invertible, you can use the fact that if a matrix is SPD, it is invertible, but you cannot obviously, all invertible matrices are not SPD. Okay. Now positive semi-definite matrices, positive semi-definite matrices are not invertible. Why? Because some of these eigenvalues here are 0. I'm sorry, some of these eigenvalues here are 0. So that if you try to write this inverse, you will have this 1 by 0 problem. So therefore, such a expression obviously does not exist. More fundamentally, as I had shown you, if 0 is a eigenvalue, if it is a non-invertible matrix, then 0 is its eigenvalue, and then therefore you will have many vectors mapping to 0 and 0 vector, and hence it is no more 1 1 mapping, and hence inverse does not exist. Okay, now calculating eigenvalues is really not a computationally elegant way, efficient way of calculating uh, inverse of a not the inverse the of checking positive definiteness of a matrix. What I mean to say here is that uh, suppose I give you a 100 cross 100 matrix and I ask you, is it positive definite or not? Then you would have to calculate 100 eigenvalues. I mean, maybe the first value itself, eigenvalue, turns out to negative, then you can immediately stop. But in general, you may have to actually calculate all the 100 eigenvalues, and this is enormous amount of work here. We'll not get into how much work this is, but prohibitive amount of work is involved here. So usually something that even you can do with a pen and paper also, and I mean you can write a program also if it's a 100 cross 100 cross 100 matrix. A way of calculating checking if a matrix is positive definite not or not is that you attempt its Kolosky decomposition. If it succeeds, the matrix is SPD, symmetric, positive, definite. So what we are trying to say, what is a Kolosky decomposition? Kolosky decomposition is that you express this symmetric matrix A as a product of two matrices R transpose R, where R is a upper triangular matrix. That is to say that structure of R is R11, R22, RNN, R12, R1N, R23, R2N, and so on Rn minus 1, n minus 1 up to Rn minus 1 comma n, and this is all below the diagonal is all is all is all 0. So this matrix has to be upper triangular, and RIIs should be greater than 0, I equal to 1 to n. Making RIIs greater than 0 is not really a difficult thing. So if if this decomposition is successful, that is to say, see, you can some of you must have already come across LU decomposition of a matrix A, where you try to express it as a product of lower triangular matrix times the product of upper triangular matrix. This is a specialization of that, where because of the symmetry, you are trying to make L and U same. The U is written here as R and L is therefore written as R transpose. This becomes transpose of a upper triangular matrix is a lower triangular matrix. But this such a matrix, if you are able to succeed in this particular decomposition, in decomposition, then it is very clear to you that X transpose AX is nothing but X transpose R transpose Rx, which is nothing but the square of length of of this, and this will be greater than 0 for all x not equal to 0, provided that R is a invertible matrix or all its diagonals are not equal to 0. However, if diagonals are not equal to 0, then we can always uh, uh, assume that by appropriate multiplication on minus on both sides that they are greater than 0. But actually speaking, we only need to worry about diagonals of R matrix to be not equal to 0. If any uh, eigenvalues of a upper triangular matrix or lower triangular matrix, or rather I would say that the determinant of R is nothing but the product of its n diagonal values. If any of the diagonal value becomes 0, then the matrix will not be invertible. If the matrix is not invertible, then there will exist some non-zero vector z such that R0 is 0, which basically means that using that z vector, it means that this product will become 0, which means that the matrix will not be positive definite. So therefore only requirement is that R should be non-singular, which is to say that all the diagonals of R should be not equal to 0. Now let's see uh, computationally what it means. First let's try to understand what this means computationally. So let's say A is a 2 cross 2 matrix. Then we are saying that R11, R22, R12, 0, R11, R22, transpose of it. So R12 comes here. This should be equal to A. Hence I will write this as A11, A12, A12, A22. Symmetric matrix, that's why. So therefore, you will get that A11, if you multiply this further, what do you get? R11 square, then R11, R12, R11, R, R11, R12, product of this to this, and this goes to 0. And then this one is R12 square plus R22 square. So what do you get? You get that R11 will be square root of A11, should be square root of A11. If you succeed with this decomposition, then you equate this to this. So R11 will be under root of A11 This is of course only possible if A11 is greater than 0. In general, any arbitrarily anyone can be brought as the first element. Hence, in general, all AIIs should be greater than 0. For positive definite matrices, anyway, all AIIs have to be greater than 0. Why? Because if you look at EI transpose AEI, where EI is the ith column of the identity matrix, then that picks up the diagonal AII, and if matrix is positive definite, it is greater than 0. So if I ever give you a matrix in which some entry on the diagonal is less than 0, you don't even need to try Kolosky decomposition. You can immediately say that this matrix is not a positive definite matrix. Then the next one is that you will get R12. So first, in the first step, you found out R11. Then in the second step, now you equate R1112 to A12. So therefore, you will get R12 as A12 by R11. So this is my first computation that I got. Then this is the second computation that I do. And then the third computation is equating A22 to R12 square plus R22 square. Why do I need to do this? Because I have to calculate R22. I have to calculate three elements. I calculated first, I calculated second, now I need to calculate the third. So what do? I say that A22 is equal to R12 square plus R22 square, which is equivalent to saying that R22 square is A22 minus R12 square, and again this should be greater than 0. Only then will I be in a position to take square root. So if it turns out that this is not greater than 0, your Kolosky decomposition has not succeeded. Now supposing that it succeeds and I substitute R12 here, then this is A12 square by A11, which is same as A11 A22 minus A12 square by A11, but this is nothing but determinant of A by A11, and this should be greater than 0, and A11 has to be greater than 0, right? So therefore determinant of A also should be greater than 0. In fact, in a n cross n matrix, I can extract many principal submatrices by, how do I extract those principal submatrices? By just by I mean choose, suppose I have a 3 cross 3 matrix, okay, A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. Okay, now choose first X to be even. Then it is even transpose A1 is just A11, which is like looking at the first principal submatrix of this type. Now choose X to be equal to E2. Then it is same as looking at E2, which is looking at this I'm sorry, which is looking at this submatrix, and similarly I can look at this submatrix. So this is looking at, this will look, this is looking at all 1 cross 1 submatrices of this type, is it not? So now let us look at a x. Let us look at a x which is of the form x1, x2 and 0. And now if you do this, x transpose ax, it is same as looking at x1, x2, a11, a12, a21, a22 times of x1, x2. Why is that? Because first you do a of x, so that is going to be a11, a21, a31 has to be weighed by uh, has to be weighed by x1, second column has to be weighed by x2, and the third column has to be weighed by 0 if it is, and then added. So therefore this is ax is first column a1 times of x1 plus second column a2 times of x2 plus third column a3 times of x3, but x3 I have set to 0. So therefore the I is effectively just this matrix product. It is just this sub matrix product. And then when I do x transpose ax now as x1, x2, 0 times of this. So now when I look at this particular thing, it is weighing the first row by x1 plus second row by x2 and the third row by 0. So as well I can drop the third row, and hence this will become, and if the matrix is positive definite, this should be greater than 0. Hence this submatrix also has to be greater than 0. Similarly, if I take x to be 0, x2, x3, then it means that x transpose ax will be equal to, will be equal to x2, x3 times a22, a23, a32, a33 times of x2, x3, and this should be greater than 0 for whatever choice of x2 and x3 I take. Hence, this this submatrix here, hence this submatrix here also should be positive definite. Similarly, this matrix also has to be positive definite. Similarly, you know, as I said, uh, this one also has to be greater than 0. This also has to be greater than 0. This also has to be 0. And then finally, the main matrix that we have here also has to be positive definite. So this kind of property, therefore we say that all principal submatrices, all principal submatrices of a positive definite matrix are also, sorry, now I have to go back. All principal submatrices of a symmetric positive definite matrix are also symmetric positive definite. But this is not a good way to this kind of each and everything is not the correct way of checking up whether a matrix is positive definite or not. I mean, practically it is not a good way of checking whether a matrix is positive definite or not. Knowing this is important because you can use this property somewhere in your work, especially theoretical work. But computationally, to test whether a matrix is positive definite or not, basically is to see whether the Cholesky factorization succeeds or not. If it breaks down, then you can abort and say that this matrix is not positive definite. If it succeeds, then you can say that the matrix is positive definite. Okay. With this basic idea of the of this thing now, one temptation is to extend this to now a 3 cross 3 thing, and let me do that. Let me succumb to the temptation. But anything beyond to uh, anything beyond to develop our intuition would not be feasible, mind you. Okay, and I'm just restricting myself to symmetric matrices, so lesser amount of uh, paperwork for me to do. And this, if Cholesky decomposition succeeds, then this will be R11. First, let me write the upper triangular matrix. The transpose I will write here. R11, R22, R33, R12, R13, R23. So therefore the transpose will be R12 and R13 and then R22. So now let's expand it again. Let's map this to expansion of this. So I will get I'm expanding this one basically first. So this can be written as first row into first column. What is that? R11 square. Then first row into second column. So what is that? R1112, and then similarly product of first row into third column, which would be R11 into R13. Okay, so uh, so now the first column, second row, I'm sorry, second row and first column will again give me R12. Second row, first column will give me this, and third row, first column will give me this. Anyway, it has to be symmetric. So once I have written this down here, I can write it down here. Now let's wait for some time for filling this portion here. Let's fill this portion a bit later on, and just take pause and, like in an algorithmic sense, compute uh, equate R11 square to A11, and hence R11 should be equal to under root of A11. Alright, then R12 will become should be equal to, I should equate R12 with A12, hence this will become equal to A12 by R11 and R13 will become equal to A13 by R11. Okay. So uh, you have got your you have basically uh, you have basically now got your first three first column of first row and first row of your R matrix. Now I can write this uh, I can write this as, if I call this column as R1, this column as R2 and this column as R3, I can actually write this A matrix as, I'm just explaining to you conceptually, that R11 plus R2, I'm sorry, uh, yeah, let me, to keep my note, slightly introduce a different notation, but will help a lot actually. I'll call these three columns as U1, U2, U3, and these three columns as L1, L2, L3. Though L1 is a transpose of U1 and so on, but L2 indicate lower transpose and U2 indicate upper transpose. So then I can write A as, or in our case with R1, R2, it is R1 transpose R1 plus you can expand it in this following form. So when you do this way and you subtract now this entry, this one from the A matrix, what you will get is A minus L1 U1 transpose is equal to L2 U2 transpose plus L3 U3 transpose. And then when you substitute this and this for L1 and U1, U1 transpose is this, L1 is this. When you substitute it, you will get R11 square equal to A1 and so on. You will essentially get, this is a bit of a tedious work, so I'm not able to do it here elegantly, but you will get this as zeros on the first column and the first row, and then uh, something else will uh, remain in the remaining subpart here. Something else will remain in the remaining subpart here. So to calculate this now, again, this is like, look, this is like having now from a n cross n matrix, a n cross n minus 1 cross n minus 1 submatrix. And in principle, whatever I have explained to you about calculation here, you can repeat it on the lower submatrices. Okay. And therefore, the what operations you did for the first column, after that you can just subtract this from the A matrix, then you will get the first row and the first column to be 0. Whatever remains here in the first n minus 1 n by n minus 1 block, in that, this effectively the first entry should be treated as square root of that entry. Square root of that entry will become R22, and then scaling you will get R23 you will get as A23 by square root of R22, and all this column you will obtain. Once you obtain this and you obtain this, you again repeat from the remaining matrix. That is, next you go to A minus L1. This already you have. To this you do this operation and get to the matrix which is further inside of this n minus 2 into n minus 2 matrix, and you keep repeating this process. And if you keep succeeding, at the end you would have calculated the completely, you would have calculated the Kolosky decomposition of your matrix. So this is a conceptual algorithm for calculating the Kolosky decomposition of a matrix. For a 3 by 3, of course, it is much more easier to uh, do the process. We did it. We will finish it for 3 by 3 first. We did it for this one R11, R12, R13. Now let's do it for R22 and R23. So I look at the product of second row and second column. I look at the product of second row and second column, and I get second row of R times the second column of this. So I get R11 square plus R22 square is equal to A22. R12 I have already found out. R12 I have already found out. So I substitute it here as R22 as square root of R12 square minus A22. And if this is greater than 0, then this operation succeeds. Otherwise, I have to abort. Okay. So then you do this. You got R22. Suppose this succeeds. Then you have got R22. So now you look at the product of second row and third column. So what is the product of second row and third column? R12 into R13 plus R22 into R23, and then this 0 goes with this, so there is no contribution of R33. So therefore this should be equal to what? This should be equal to A23. Is it not? So now you have got A23 is same as minus R12 R13 divided by R22 should be equal to R23. Hence you got now you got R23. Once you got R23, then what is left? What alone is left to be calculated? All that you need to calculate is R33. So you can calculate it as, look at the product of third row and the third column. So you will get it as R13 square plus R23 square plus R33 square, and this should be equal to 3 comma 3 entry of the A matrix, which is R33. Now you know R13 already. You have calculated R23 already. So you can calculate R33. So A33 should be equal to minus of R13 square minus of R23 square. Okay, now let me take a example first today, because this must have become quite tedious to you. So let me do one example to illustrate this, because I want you to know, at least for 3 by 3 and 2 by 2 matrices, at least you should be able to do this yourself using pen and paper. So I will take a simple matrix. I'll take this as 100, 100, 100, 5 and say 10, 5 and say 10, or let's take minus 5 and plus 10 and plus 10, so that all entries are not positive, so you don't feel kind of that, oh, in this all metrics entries were positive, so something happened in that sense. Now example, now my question is, check if A is positive definite. So I'm going to, I usually don't like to remember formulas, so I will write this as R11, R22, R33, R12, R13, R23, and R12, R13, R22, R33, and R23. So then 100 should be equal to R11 square, which basically means the first row and the first column will give me this entry, which means that R11 should be equal to 10. As I said, I am only interested in looking at positive values. This should suffice. Even if I take minus 10, I will not have any problem, mind you, but I am just going to, because we need to use square root, we need to use only the positive values. That, I mean, that's why more precisely, that's why I'm choosing the positive square roots only. So R11 will be equal to 10. Now, once I take R11 as 10, then I take the product of first row and the second column and equate it with R12 here. So therefore I get minus 5 as equal to R11 into R12, R11 into R12, and then the 0 to 0, 0 to this end, 0 to R22, and 0 to 0. So therefore what happens to R12? R12 becomes equal to minus 5 by 10 or minus half. Similarly, taking the product of the first row and the third column, I get R11, R13 to be equal to 10, to be equal to 10, which means that R13 will be equal to 10 by 100, which is equal to, I'm sorry, 10 by, not 100, 10 by 10, oh god, which will be equal to 10 by 10, and that is going to be equal to 1. So you have now filled up uh, 10 minus half, 1, R22, R23, R33. Okay, 10 minus half 1 R22 R23 and R33. This should be equal to what? 100 minus 5 10 minus 5 10 100 10 10 and 100. Okay, I chose just instinctively, I chose these three numbers as 100, just I could have taken this as 50, this could have been taken as 70. As I told you, they have to be at least minimum, they should be greater than 0. I just took them as 100, so my problem, that was a good number that came to my mind. Nothing more than that. Put don't put too much of importance on this, my choosing diagonals to be the same. Okay. So now let us look at computation of R22. Our next job is to compute R22. So I will take second row and second column. Product of second row and second column has only one unknown, which is R22, and I will equate it with this A22 100. So I get 100 to be equal to 1 by 4. Why did I write 1 by 4? Because 1 by minus of 1 by 2 into minus of 1 by 2 plus of R22 square plus of R22 this times of this, and then 0 goes to 0, so nothing to be worried about here. So I will get this as R22 square, I will get as 100 minus 1 by 4, which is equal to 99.75. So R22 will be square root of 99.75, and this number will be, again, the positive square root is all that I need to take. Once I have done this, now my job is to calculate R23. So to calculate R23, I will equate it to A23, which means I will take second row and third column, second row and third column, and see, now I know second row and let me directly do it. Let me not write more here on the matrices. So 10 should be equal to A23, the second row and the third column. 10 should be equal to product of this second row times this third column. Hence it will be equal to minus 1 by 2 into 1 plus R22 into R23 plus, but R22 is under root of 99.75, under root of 99.75 into R23, R22 into R23, and then 0 into R33. So therefore, what happens to R23? It becomes 10.5 divided by under root of 99.75, and how much that would be? Shall we calculate? Approximately equal to 1.05. Is that should be correct, because under root of 100 is 10. 10.5 by 10 is greater than 1. 99.75 is slightly lower than 100, so the square root will be slightly more less than 10, and hence this number is slightly higher than 1.05. It is 1.051 in this case, 13, whatever. Now, once you have got this, you are now in a position to calculate R33 square. So R33 square will be R1 square plus R22 first third row, third column. So 100 should be equal to 1 plus R23 square plus R33 square. Is it not? 100 should be equal to 1 into 1 square, R23 into R23, R23 square plus R33 into R33, R33 square, and therefore R33 should be equal to 99 minus 1.0153 square root of all this, and that is yeah, so that number is always greater than 0. So therefore you had R11, which is R11 was how much? 10, which is greater than 0. You had R22, which is square root of 99.75, which is also greater than 0, and R33, which is square root of 99 minus 1.0513 whole square. So this will be also greater than 0, and hence my Cholesky factorization succeeded and the matrix is symmetric, positive, definite. So this is something that I expect you also, if I give this kind of a question in the end sem, check whether the matrix is positive, definite or not. Of course, I will not give you more than 3 by 3 in any case, or 2 by 2 or 3 by 3. This is what I expect you to do, Cholesky decomposition, and find out. Now the question that may have remained in your mind, that why should Cholesky decomposition exist for a positive definite matrix, that has a more interesting answer, and I can probably give that answer for QR decomposition, and I will defer that answer to the next class. Thank you.